Hello and welcome back everybody to another video of our PyBytes YouTube. And today I want to show you how to hook up Bootstrap with Django because, Django is all about the backend, but we at least want to have our apps look semi-nice. And Tailwind looks nicer, but we often use Bootstrap for quick results. And it is often for us, good enough for MVP or minimal viable product. So let's get set up. Install the plugin. I'm going to use a Django plugin for that and add it to an existing project. All right, let's go. All right, here's a Django starter project, and it has a master and a solution branch because it's related to another training. And I'm going to just check out the solutions branch, which has all the code. And -b with the clone command lets you check out a specific branch. Now, to get this up and running, I need a virtual environment. That's my alias, actually, if you're new to the channel. I need to install the requirements. I also have an alias for that because the requirements are usually in a requirements.txt. And the project just uses a SQLite database, so I can migrate to get the database, all the tables created that come with the Django apps, all the models. And I do need to set a couple of environment variables. And I believe I also need to set debug to true, otherwise it defaults to false. So let's try that migration again. And a SQLite database got created. And I can run this server. And a very simple CRUD app. It's super ugly, and that's the whole point of this video. Let's make it nice. So let's add a bit of content. Let's bring this over to my existing windows. Add a little cover image. Create a new post, and let's create another one. All right. And yeah, there's quite a big image, but I will go with that for now. As you can see, it's horrible. Actually, let's delete that. So also to show the other functionality, I can edit post. So that says post content 2, and I can delete it as well. Actually, that's here. Yes, okay, let's do another one again. And that's something I need to fix. It's really a basic app, right? It's just showing a CRUD app. It's more about the backend code. So this cover probably want to have a placeholder. So let's make this look a bit nicer by adding Bootstrap. All right, so I'm going to close this, close this, close this, and we're going to use the Django Bootstrap v5 plugin. Now, first we need to install that in our virtual environment. And let me actually leave this open, so when I make changes, the run server just refreshes. So I'm going to open a new terminal. And here's where we're going to do work. And here's where the run server runs in the background. I need to enable that virtual environment in the other terminal as well. And then, oops, I need to copy this router. Installing Django Bootstrap v5. And after pip installing it, you need to add Bootstrap 5 to your installed apps, right? So that's in settings, installed apps. These come with Django. This is my own app. So usually I do Django apps, third party, and this is third party, and then my own apps, right? And then we can start using it. So it's pretty simple. So in my base template, after the load static, I'm going to load the Bootstrap 5 library. Then I'm going to load the CSS in JavaScript. And that's really nice, right? I don't have to go retrieve those links, see the version. It's all done for me. I only need to add the particular template tags. And notice I'm going to do it before my own style CSS. So any styles I want to override, I want to go last. I'm going to delete the movie CSS I had. All right. I can also put the messages here. So any messages you send from the views will look nice. So I'm going to do that in the body right before the content block, which is where I override stuff in the child templates. So let's see if we already get some results from that. And this is some cached from all the stuff I did before. We already can see that the fonts are better. So that's already a win. But let's start styling some things. All right. So for example, let's just go through the templates I have. Starting with list. Now list has a table. And if you go to the Bootstrap documentation, per type of HTML element, there's really good documentation. And the only thing you really have to do to make a table look like this is to apply the table class. So let's do that. And boom, that looks pretty nice. Now let's work on the forms. This looks still a bit better, but still pretty ugly. So let's work on forms next. Now to use forms, you can use the bootstrap _form and just give it the form as an argument, and the form is typically passed in from the view. So let's go to a template that has a form, and it's aptly named form. And I was doing all this manual stuff. I'm not sure why, because in Django you can just do form SP. But anyway, now with Bootstrap, we're going to change all that to just this. But that's not going to work yet. I'll explain why. Well, the error messaging in Django is really great. So it says, invalid block. Did you forget to register or load this tag? And I did, right? So what I need to do is also in the child template, load that library, right? And as you'll see, it actually needs to go after the extends, right? If I do it in the wrong order, again, I get a pretty good error message saying that the extends should always go first. So this is the order you should do it in. And this looks already much better, right? So we can do new post, some post, some slug, cover is optional. Again, I need to fix that, but yeah, this is already a huge improvement. What else can we do? Yeah, the edit form uses the same template, so that's nice. And that brings me to overall styling of the page. So what I at least want to do is have a nav bar, and I want the footer to be sticky. So, oh, I forgot one thing, by the way. In the form, the button is okay, but we can do better. So in that example, after the Bootstrap form, I can wrap the buttons in a buttons tag or section. And the only thing I need to do is apply the button and the button primary classes on it. And then it should look better, new. And, you know, with Bootstrap, you can apply various styles. So I can make this dark as well. We often use that style, really like it. But I'm just sticking with primary for now. And notice any change I make is just instantly visible by refreshing the page. Okay, what else? We did table. Oh yeah, the details page. So that's not really spectacular. Some posts. Let me actually show the one with the image. Let's actually put this in a nice card. So again, we go to the Bootstrap documentation, look up the element, and we can just copy the snippet and go to the right template. So this is in detail. Put it here. And just put the attributes in the right place. So the title goes here. The post content goes here. The link is not really necessary. And here we want to show the cover, right? So that's post.cover. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, we do want edit buttons. Those can go here. And I can style those as well, but yeah. So let's refresh. And that looks really nice now. So edit, we got the form, we can go back, we got the table. So that's done. This is done. And lastly, let's do a navbar. So again, I go to the documentation v5, 5.0, look up navbar, and I'm just going to use the standard example. And navbar is for all the pages, right? So I'm going to use that in my base template because the base template gets inherited in all the child templates, right? And the navbar, I think I will want that. I want that on top of the Django messages. I will show you in a bit why. So here's a navbar. Of course, I would have to update all the links, but just to show it from a design perspective, now we got a nice navbar. The messages are going after the navbar. I will show you why. So if I update a post, now that Django messages framework, the messages are yielded right below the navbar, but on top of the content. And I think that's a nice place to put this. Now, lastly, the footer, I want that to be sticky. And I actually asked ChatGPT a bit for help there, and it gave me this snippet so I can apply those classes. So we do the footer empty auto. I'm going to copy this. And on the main, it had flex shrink 0. So let's not do that yet. Just see what we get only for these styles. At least a bit of styling, but no stickiness. So let's go one step further and put this on the body. And now we have a sticky footer. So it doesn't seem that I really need the flex ring 0 on main, but I could apply that if necessary. But this will do for now. And lastly, there's not really any margin on the sides. So at least I would want to have a little bit of margin on the main content body. And in Bootstrap, you can achieve that by applying a container class. So let's do that as well. And that would go around the content. So the content here is what I override in the child template. And for example, you see that here, that I reference that content block, and that child template content gets inserted in this base template, right? So logically, I'm going to put the container div around that content block. And now we get some margin on both sides. We should also have some margin here on the top. You can further style this, but yeah, compared to the atrocity that you saw when we started, this is quite nice. So lastly, let's commit this somewhere so you can pull this. So I made these changes. I can add them. I can say git diff staged, just to check what I'm going to check in is all good. So this is all what we did. Looks good. Looks good. And lastly, I need to also add the dependency. I can pin it, but for this project, I'm not really pinning dependencies, so I'm just going to leave it open. It's just a demo, right? So I'm relying that these libraries are also pretty stable. Add that as well. Let's make a new branch, Bootstrap, and do git status, git commit, Bootstrap, YouTube video, push that back. So as we cloned it, we have the origin automatically set. Git push origin Bootstrap. That gives me conveniently the link to open a pull request, which I can do, but not against master, because that only has the starter code of the other training. But actually, I branched off of solution. So that's what I'm going to compare it with. Open pull request. I'm probably not going to merge it in because that might mess up the other training, right? Like people saying like, hey, what's all that Bootstrap stuff? So I need to kind of leave this solution branch pristine. But at least I can close this pull request, but at least you can then see you still have that reference of the diff of this video, right? So if you want to have an easy way to copy what we did in this video, you can still do that. All right, that's it. That was quite a ride, a bit longer than normally, but yeah, with this video, you basically can, with a small amount of time and effort, make your Django project look pretty nice. And in reality, we use, so again, Tailwind looks nicer, but in reality, we use Bootstrap for our CMS tool, Organic, which we have another video on this channel, IronScribe. So it looks good enough. So if you want to quickly style your Django apps, make them MVP or minimal viable product ready, then Bootstrap is the way to go. And with the Django Bootstrap plugin, I hope you're convinced with this video that it's an easy win. So I hope this video was helpful. Of course, I skipped by the whole Django setup. If you want to see me do that, starting a Django project from scratch, let me know. I'm happy to do so. I'm also a big fan of Django, so any other content of Django, more than happy and willing to produce it here on the channel. Just let me know, comment below. Hope this is helpful. Thanks for watching, and tomorrow, another technical video. Adios.